Hello, everybody, and welcome to another interview by myself, Jamie Theodosi. Today, I'm joined by Isaac Dulgarian, who takes on Christian Rodriguez at UFC Vegas 88 on March 16th. Isaac, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, brother. Just got done training. Just finished our Friday sparring. Looked good, felt good. Everything's going good right now.
So we're about a month away from the fight at the time of recording. How has camp gone up until this point?
It's been a rough camp, man. It's been very very good. Made a lot of improvements. I just been sick the last few weeks and a little bit overtrained, but that's how it goes. We're starting to taper down now, so I'm gonna start feeling better. The sick's going away. Yeah, can't be any more happy with how camp's going.
Yeah. Before we touch on that upcoming fight a little bit more, I want to take it back to your UFC debut back in August. You obviously made yourself known in the UFC with a massive bang, another first round finish. When you've envisioned your UFC debut for all these years, all these months, did you envision that it would go that well?
Yeah, no, I thought it would be when I envisioned it coming to the fight. I thought it would be a finish, but then when I got there, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be a dog fight. For Francis Marshall, he's a tough kid and he's strong, powerful, and he knows what he's doing in the grappling realm. So, and then I out there and he couldn't do anything against my attack. So basically, I had him stuck on his back and found the opening to land some big elbows and finish the fight.
What do you attribute that killer mentality to? Because I mean, you're six fights into your pro career now, and you've never seen round two. What do you kind of put that down to? What do you attribute that killer instinct to?
The killer instinct is pure violence. I was exposed to a lot of violence as a kid, and I think that when I fight, it kind of shows. A lot of fighters they're violent, but mine's pure. It's from the heart. It's what I've seen. It's what I've known my whole life, and it's just my way of kind of expressing that. I don't like being that person. I don't like being violent outside of fighting, but when I get in the cage, that's what comes out.
Yeah. And let's just touch on your upcoming opponent a little bit more then, because obviously you've got Christian Rodriguez. In his last few fights, he's kind of built up this reputation of taking people's undefeated records. How much do you know about him, if anything at all, and what are some of the things you're kind of expecting from him?
Man, Christian, he's good everywhere. He's a good fighter. He doesn't really have a lot of holes in his game. He's solid everywhere. The guys that he beat, though, I think were much overhyped. I think the UFC gave him the silver spoon, and like those guys aren't on this level yet. And I think I'm a whole different animal in there than those guys. So Christian's good. His style is frustrating. For a lot of people, especially the guys he just fought. They make a lot of mistakes. They're young and they make a lot of mistakes. And Christian style is to kind of take his time, be methodical, and eventually he'll wear you down and win the decision. That's what he's very good at. And, we're kind of, for this fight, we're making sure I'm in shape and ready to fight the 3 rounds if it comes down to it. But, I think I can get this fight over with. I don't think he's fought anyone like me. The closest grappler he's fought to me is Jonathan Pierce, but he's more just a back taker, kind of catch wrestler type dude. He doesn't have like actual MMA grappling. He's good at taking the back. So I'm good everywhere on the ground. Jiu-jitsu threat's not really a thing for me, and striking something that there's not a lot of film on me, but I do carry a lot of power. So hopefully we get to see some striking from me as well.
For sure. And obviously in his last two fights, they've been at bantamweight, and he has missed the bantamweight limit in those two fights. Do you think in this fight you're going to be able to impose yourself as the naturally bigger fighter?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm used to fighting guys that are bigger. I think me and Christian will be about the same size. Like I'm pretty sure he's my height. We have about the same reach. We're basically built the same. Um, I just think I have a lot of experience fighting bigger guys. When I was competing in wrestling as a senior in high school, I wrestled 170 pounds. So I'm used to competing with big bodies, strong guys. And he's been fighting 35ers that are basically children. So, there's a big difference there. And, I think he's going to make it hard for me for sure. But I think that over time in the fight that my pressure and pace will wear.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned a little bit there as well, about your striking and how you want to try and showcase that a bit more in this fight. Obviously, your pedigree is wrestling. You've got that college wrestling background. Since working at Factory X, how much of those guys really helped develop your striking side of your game?
Oh man, so much. I came out here from Glory, and these guys are such kickers. It's insane. You know, like my first couple weeks, I was beat up on. I was like, guys freaking suck. You know, I got great partners. You know, Chris Gutierrez, top 15 or in 135, or at least was. Yusuf Zalal, another great guy. Marquel Maderos, he just made his UFC debut. All these guys are high level strikers, like elite strikers, and so I get to try. I get to see what high level striking looks like and feels like, and you know I can kind of implement that into my own game. I've been out here for about a year now, so you know we've made a lot of changes, and we haven't got to see anything from my stand up in my fights. You know, so it's going to be a complete surprise to Christian, and I think you know once he feels my power, it might change the fight.
Yeah. Something that always really fascinates me about the fighters at Factory X is their phenomenal calf kicks. Like all of you guys at Factory X have just got ridiculously powerful calf kicks. Is that something that you feel has added a lot to your game since you've been there?
No, because I always have been decent at calf kicks. You know, Coach James Krause out at Glory, you know, he was big on the calf kick. He was one of the pioneers of that. So I've always been used to the calf kicks. But just kicking in general, it's a lot more balanced now. We've been working a lot of balance and, you know, not really getting extended because you can get away with it on the regional scene. But at the highest level of fighting, you know, it's a game of inches. And if you reach a little too far, they can step out of range and crack you back, and that's a bad time, you know. So I've learned a lot being here, and just having Coach Mark Montoya and all my training partners out here helping me daily. You know, we've made tons and tons of gains with that type of stuff.
Is taping your opponent something you do a lot, or do you kind of leave that sort of side of things to your coaches?
What do you mean, like watching
As
video?
in, yeah, so like watching tape on your opponents, like looking at their last couple of fights, that sort of thing.
Yeah. My coaches watch, and I kind of just watch. We don't really pay attention to what they do. It's just like their tendencies. That's really it. You know, we know where my skill is. We know what Christian does and what he's good at. I'm sure he's going to bring things to the table that I haven't seen, and I'm going to bring things to the table he hasn't seen. So that's just how the game goes. You know, we just watch for their tendencies, what their go to is in certain positions and stuff like that. That's about it.
Yeah. And talk to me a little bit about having someone like Coach Montoya behind you. How much sort of confidence does that give you, knowing that you've been prepared by one of the best coaches in the game?
Man, it's awesome because you know he kind of took that leadership role over after the Kraus situation happened. Because Kraus is an amazing leader. I don't really care what anyone has to say about him. You know, that guy never did me wrong ever, and you know he was a leader to me and a general. And so I came out here to factory, and Mark kind of took his place and has just done a phenomenal job working with me. And we've kind of built a lot of trust in each other, and you know I can believe if he sees something, then it's there, and you know I can trust his word. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. You mentioned before, have obviously how you live in an RV on the Factory X car park. Is that still your situation?
Yeah, I'm still out there, man. We've been riding out through the winter.
Yeah.
Had to do a lot of winter prep for the RV and stuff because it's been we've had a lot of freezing times, like where it'll freeze for like 3 4 days at a time. But other than that, man, it's been smooth. You know, I live outside the gym, so I just wake up, brush my teeth, come train, come beat people up, and then I do it again. You know, so that's the lifestyle. I got my baby daughter being born here April 7th, right after my fight. So hoping to get a bonus and you know maybe getting some land out here so we can put the RV on it and start saving up to build a house.
Congratulations on the pregnancy, by the way. I mean, you just mentioned there April the 7th. That's my birthday. Hopefully it comes at the same time. So yeah,
Oh, that's
congratulations on
awesome.
that.
Oh yeah,
How much added motivation does it give you with something like that, knowing that your girlfriend, or is it your wife, sorry?
that's my girlfriend.
Yeah,
She's my girlfriend now.
how much motivation does it give you knowing that your girlfriend's carrying your baby, obviously fighting for a family now?
A lot, man. you know, it raises my why to another level, you know, because I've always done this for my family. I don't do it to be cool. I don't fight to get likes on Instagram. I could give two shits less, you know. I've always fought to make my grandfather proud, and the rest of my family, and just show them that they can do whatever they put their mind to, but it takes your life sacrifice. Like fighting is a definition of my life's work, and so to have my daughters come in, you know, when times get hard, like let's say I'm running and you know I'm getting to the end of the run, but I'm exhausted. You know, it gives me that extra motivation to really push harder than I would have finished before. You know, I can sprint that finish instead of jog it.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to touch on the fact that obviously this will be your second fight in a row taking place at the UFC Apex. It's somewhere that's divided opinions between fans and fighters. Some fighters really do enjoy fighting there. Some fighters don't. Do you enjoy fighting there, and what are your experiences of fighting in the Apex?
See, I don't have a problem with the atmosphere of the Apex or anything like that, but I do not want to fight there. You know, I want to fight. I want to fight in front of crowds. You don't get any exposure at the Apex. A lot of people, unless they're avid fans of MMA, they're not watching the Apex cards. They want to come to the arena and feel the real thing. You know, so I always imagine me getting into the UFC and fighting in front of a crowd. And now this is my second fight on at the Apex where I'm fighting in front of I think maybe 200 people, you know. So, and I can't get tickets for my family because they're 700 or $1,750. So, you know, I want my family there. That's the whole reason I fight. So, hopefully, after this fight, I put on a good performance. I'm hoping to get in an arena and stay there, you know. But for now, you know, I got to prove myself, and I'm at the Apex, and that's what I plan to do.
Yeah, and I know you've mentioned before how you kind of want your rise up the featherweight kind of division to be not a slow rise, but you don't feel it's needed to throw you straight into the top 15. Why do you feel
Yeah.
it's important to kind of take that slow approach to things instead of just being rushed through?
Because so my thing is, man, I've been fighting for 3 years. You know, the fact that I'm in the UFC in the first place is kind of mind-boggling for most people. You know, but on the regional circuit, no one can test me. You know, I'm meant to be in the UFC. My level's at the UFC level. I just don't have the experience that some of these guys have. Some of them have 20 plus pro fights. You know, this is going to be my seventh fight. So I think as long as I'm building experience, eventually I'll get there, man. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And you know, I plan on being here for a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's a perfect way of looking at it. And if it's okay with you, I'd love to finish on a few more fun questions just to keep it light-hearted.
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. So the first one I've got for you, mate, is if you could change or add one rule in MMA, what would you change or add?
Oh, okay. So I it's gonna be two. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
So one of them would be like you know how like karate combat has like the angled sides. There's like
Yeah.
no kick. I would prefer it to be like a flat mat, like almost like a court, like a training room mat on a platform. And then if you go off the platform, it's an automatic loss. So it's a
Whoa.
big platform. It's almost like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, like the tournament
No,
that they do in Dragon
I
Ball
watched
Z.
it.
You get knocked off the platform, you lose. So you have to stay on the platform, but there's no cage for you to get up if you get taken down. There's
Yeah.
no assistance. It's a real fight. And then if you get knocked off that platform, which would be big, um, then you lose. I would love that rule set. I think that would be badass.
That sounds crazy. That does sound
Yeah.
crazy.
Because
What was the
I
second one?
mean, huh?
You said you got two. What was the second
Oh
one?
well, that is basically two in one.
Yeah, I
Yeah. So
suppose,
like
yeah.
the flat floor, big flat floor with no cage.
Yeah.
And then the rule being, if you fall out of bounds, you lose. Because the thing is it force action. Because if you get close to that out of bounds line, you know, if I get kicked out of here or pushed off, I lose. So it's going to force action back to the middle. But also, they don't have a chance. Like, there's no like reset in
Mm,
between rounds or anything. Like, it's just one round and it's a fight. You know,
yeah.
because that's where MMA is kind of weird. That's where MMA is a sport instead of a fight. You know, there's a break and then you get stood up. So, like, if you're a striker going against a high level grappler, and let's say you're on your back the whole first round, you get to start back on your feet where you're best at. That's not really fair to the grappler, even though it's more fan friendly, I guess. But that's
Mm,
not how a fight really goes. A real fight, you don't. There's no breaks. There's no stand up. It's you fight until someone quits, taps, or isn't awake
yeah.
anymore. You know.
I mean, probably the most unique answer ever been given. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm all for it now. But yeah, the second one is if you could only eat one more meal for the rest of your life, but it gave the perfect nutrients, what would you eat?
Oh, see, I love Italian food. So like
Mm.
shoot, like a veal piccata with the lemon sauce and the capers, or shoot, any Italian food. But that
Yeah.
would be my go-to. The the veal piccata.
Okay, I'll let you have all Italian food. I'll let you have the cuisine as a whole.
Yeah,
Um,
hell yeah.
the next one is you're at training and someone gives you the aux cord or the Bluetooth. You can only play one song. What do you play?
Oh man. Um, let's see. My problem is I listen to a lot of weird stuff, but I would probably play like my first song by there's a Dr. Dre
Oh,
or
okay.
no, it's Jay-Z. Sorry.
Yeah.
My first song. I like that song a lot. I've walked out to it a lot. But I like New York style hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna throw on. I don't like most other styles of hip hop. I like the New York style, and then I love blues music as well, but that's not really like training music.
Yeah. You got that's the thing. You got to kind of tailor in the fact that it's at training, so you've got to try and get everyone hyped and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I like your answer though. I like it. Okay, so this one, I want you to create the perfect fighter. So I'm gonna list a few attributes, and you've got to say a fighter that you would pick for that attribute. Okay,
Okay.
so you can use any fighter, so it can be a fighter from the past or a fighter that's presently fighting. So, who would you use for striking?
Um, I probably use like I think Volk is one of the best strikers in the UFC ever. I would probably take him. He's very smart, very good with range management. He's probably one of the best at range management ever. Um, he's not the most dynamic striker by any means, but he's very, very good at what he does.
Yeah. The next one is grappling.
Uh, Habib
Yeah.
all day.
Uh, heart.
If
So
not me,
heart
it's
slash
Habib.
chin. Yeah. I mean, you can pick yourself. You can pick yourself. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think I'm a new style Khabib.
Yeah.
I think we'll get to see that very soon. A lot of people think it's sweet, but when I get a hold of people, it's different. And um, I study a lot of Khabib, and I do a lot of the things that he does. We're just different weight classes, and I'm a better striker. So
Yeah.
we'll get to see it eventually.
Yeah, definitely. Heart slash chin.
Heart slash chin. Uh, Gaethje.
Yeah, good one. And then the last one is IQ.
I shit. I should have done that one with Volk. I
You can pick
switched
him
my
for
answer.
two.
I switched my answer. Volk for
Okay.
the IQ and Pereira for the striking. I
Yeah,
love
I
his
like
striking
it.
style.
Yeah, I like that. If you could travel to any place in the world right now, where would you travel to?
I want to go back to my homeland in Armenia. I've never got to go. Um, I was born in the U.S., but I've always wanted to go. I just don't have the money to make that trip and actually stay out there yet. So that's where I would want to go first.
Sounds nice. If you could go for a drink with anyone in the world right now, who would you pick? I know you don't drink much, but could be just a soft drink, dead or alive as
We'll
well,
go.
by the
We'll go
way.
get a little drink. I like a little drink with my dinner every once in a while.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. Um,
that can be dead or alive, so it could be someone that you've obviously looked up to for years and years, or
this one's hard. This one's hard for me, man. If I was to go get a drink with anybody, I'd probably go get a drink with my dad. My dad passed when I was 3 years old. I never got to know him, really. And there's some good things about him that I've heard and some bad things about him that I've heard. But I just would like to know who he is, like how he actually cave, just know more about him. Because I only have a few pictures of him, and I get told stories from people that knew him, and they're like, he's the craziest athlete you've ever seen, blah 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 blah. But his mental wasn't there or whatever. He got caught up in other things. So I'd probably go get a drink with him.
Yeah, I respect that. I like that a lot. And the last one is, how does your fight with Christian Rodriguez go down on March 16th?
I think it's either going to be a finish early, or I think it's going to be a frustrating, boring decision that I have to squeak out because he's not trying to attack. He's just trying
Okay.
to survive.
Yeah. Everyone go check out if you want to if you want to shout out any sponsors, any social medias, anything like that, now's your time, mate.
Yeah, give me a follow. Instagram, that's what I use most. It's Isaac_Dulgarian. Sponsors wise, big shout out Burn Factory podcast. They've been helping me out a ton every fight camp. They show up to all my fights, stuff like that. Randy Kerno, Chevy Buick GMC back in Kansas City. They work on my cars a lot. Shout out Brody out there. And then, yeah, that's it. Much love to my Armenian fans. And then much love to Kansas City. There's just a shooting out there for the Super Bowl parade. There's a lot of gang violence out there, and they're talking about changing the gun laws. I don't really agree with changing the gun laws. I just think that there's a lot of people with fragile egos and that are afraid to get in a fight. Quit pulling out the guns, put them hands up, and let's scrap.
Yeah, a very respectable way to end the interview, mate. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope the rest of your camp goes well and you enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for getting a hold of me.
Thank you very much, brother. Bear with.